All right. What's up, dude?
Hey, what's up, Murph? How you doing, pal? Long time no speak.
Yeah, long time no speak. I hear you. I guess people's lives gets hectic and stuff. There's been a lot of sports going on, a lot of stuff going on in life. But you know what? We're here tonight for the big game tonight, and I'm excited about that.
Yeah, you know what? I was thinking about you all day today, Rich. I know how much this game means to you. I turned the clock back a year ago. You were so hyped for this game, and then I get a text from you four plays in the game, a four-letter word, which I don't want to say on the screen, but yeah, it was like four plays, and that was it last year, Rich. So
Yeah.
you're due.
So tonight's definitely going to be a deep breath, kickoff, and then the season's going to start. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely exciting.
So how do you feel about San Francisco, though, being the first game? I mean, the 49ers are a tough team, Rich, and on both sides, I mean, it might be one of these low-scoring defensive battles, basically. I mean, do we know about Christian McCaffrey? He's banged up. He didn't play in the preseason. And on the Jets side, too, I mean, look at Aaron Rodgers, of course, hasn't completed a pass in over 600 days. So a lot of question marks with this game tonight,
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. Absolutely. It's definitely a lot of question marks. You know what, though? As I saw yesterday, you watched a lot of the games yesterday, I'm sure. And
yeah, of course.
And it seemed like a lot of teams were rusty. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You see a lot of the first halves of a lot of the games. There was really no touchdown scored really until like the second half at the 1 o'clock games. There's a couple of them here and there.
You say teams are rusty, but what do you call the New York Giants, Rich? That's not rusty.
Rusty. They're kind of like brittle. Like, when you see the Steelers not rusty, it's kind of like brittle.
I turned on the Giants game yesterday, and I think, who are the Vikings playing today? The Montreal Canadiens. You see those uniforms?
Ugh. Yeah, apparently they were them the throwback uniforms. I don't know. I mean, they should never ever wear those uniforms again. You know what I'm saying? I guess
they are. I guess they're gonna wear them one more time. I heard from a Giants fan today.
Yeah, I know. I hear you. But that's like
getting back to the Jets, Rich, for 1 second. Look at Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson, right? So Garrett Wilson, this is his third season, Rich, right? Third season in the league.
Yeah, third season.
And the guy is he's quarterback. He's like Justin Jefferson. Remember, people said Justin Jefferson can't play with these quarterbacks. Jefferson finds a way to play. Look what Sam Darnold did yesterday with the Vikings to Justin Jefferson. The same thing is with Garrett Wilson. Look who Garrett Wilson had thrown the ball over the past couple of years. Name the quarterbacks, right? Right?
Exactly.
Crap. I mean, so I think he's going to have an explosive season, Garrett Wilson, in my opinion.
I'll tell you, two people on the Jets that are probably going to have an explosive season is one, Garrett Wilson, and two, Breece Hall. Breece Hall made a comment the other day about how him wanting to become the best running back in football. Listen, I could see that happening. I'll go back to Garrett Wilson in 1 second because Breece Hall can do both, man. Like Breece Hall can run. He runs hard. He runs side to side. Like he gets real low, and he's a strong kid, and he's also good out of the backfield. But then, speaking about Garrett Wilson, I want to just I want to talk about him for a second because he seems to me like like you said, like Justin Jefferson, like a generational kind of talent type of kid. Because, like you said, perfect example was he had a mediocre season last year, but he had Zach Wilson throwing him the football last year, 1,000 yards. You know what I mean? So he's gonna assimilate with a good quarterback or a bad quarterback. It's like the positive now is he going into tonight's game. He's gonna have one of the greatest quarterbacks ever to put on a pair of cleats throwing him the football this year. So, as you just said before, I think he's definitely primed to have definitely an explosive season. Absolutely, he's gonna have way over 1,000 yards and a lot of receptions.
Yeah. So, Rich, I heard on the radio today, 1,000 yards doesn't mean anything anymore with the 17 games. I think 1,000 yards still means a lot. I mean, that's a great accomplishment, 1,000 yards, whether it's 16 games or 17 games,
Well, I think it's an accomplishment because a lot of these teams now, they have two main wide receivers. So look at a team like San Francisco who had two over 1,000-yard receivers. They have Deebo Samuel. They got Brandon Ayuk. Like those are two, high-level wide receivers. Listen, the Jets got Mike Williams, man, too. I'm not saying it's Garrett Wilson, and he's got Mike Williams to throw the ball to now, too. So it's kind of like, I'm not saying he's a high level as Garrett Wilson because he's just like emerging as like a generational talent right now. But they got two wide receivers that could definitely handle the football.
Yeah, two things, Rich, I want to bring up. Deebo Samuel, you love the guy, Rich. You draft him in every fantasy football draft.
Every year.
But the 49ers have so many mouths to feed. It's like they're like loaded on offense. It's Ayuk, it's Samuel, it's McCaffrey, it's Kittle. They got so many to feed. And I want to bring it back to the Jets. What the Jets have this year, which they didn't have in the previous years, the Jets revamped their offensive line. They got some offensive line. I think it's the top 5 in the NFL, basically.
The way that was put together, absolutely. They brought some veterans in, to show the young guys how to play. This kid out of Penn State he's proven right now he's a beast. He's a big kid. They can throw him on the line. He's the rookie, and he's got a lot of talent on that offensive line to show him kind of like how to be an offensive lineman and all the cohesiveness because of Aaron Rodgers. Because Aaron Rodgers definitely thinks that the offensive line is the most. I'd have to assume that it's one of the most important positions in football because it's something that's been protecting him for all these years. And I'm gonna have to assume that he's got a good relationship with these guys now. And I hope that relationship flourishes because this Jet offensive line was a thorn in their side last year to a point where it's almost like they looked like they were doing it on purpose sometimes because it doesn't matter who the quarterback was. It was Zach Wilson, whoever it was. I know he sucks and he can't make decisions on his feet, but he was running for his life at times.
And not only that, Rich, you mentioned Breece Hall. So Breece Hall had to catch some passes last year out of the backfield because of this Swiss cheese offensive line they had. I think Hall gets more carries this year, and they take away some of his catches and stuff because they do have the wide receivers to catch the ball. And also, you got Conklin too, the tight end blocking too. He's a really good blocking tight end. So the Jets are stacked on their offensive line basically, which will definitely help Breece Hall in the long run.
You just brought up a good point about Conklin. He's definitely a good blocker. And another thing that Breece Hall had mentioned, like he wants to be, a pure running back. Now, that doesn't, running backs this day and age, they really don't last that very, that long. So the point I'm trying to make is like, this is Breece Hall's second season, right? And third season. I'm sorry, it's the third season, right? Third season.
Well, he was injured that 1 year, yeah.
Right. Hopefully be his second full season. So he wants to be a top level running back. Like, he's going to be that guy that's going to go 100% every single game because that the shelf life of a running back this day and age really isn't that much. I mean, they're not getting as much money as they used to. It's like, they're getting injured a lot. And I don't know if it's, the different way that these defenses are playing them, but Breece Hall is going to be an explosive running back this year. He is going to, like you said, he wants to catch some passes out of the backfield, but he's going to run for a lot of yards behind that offensive line because especially when Aaron Rodgers has one top-level wide receiver, and you got Mike Williams, got everybody else you could throw the football to, the Jets are going to be a team where they're not just going to be a one-sided team where it's like Zach Wilson looking around, looking scared. They're really going to have the key on a bunch of guys on this offense.
And then there's the defense, Rich. The defense isn't chopped liver. The defense is pretty damn good on the Jets.
Yeah, I expect the defense to sack the quarterback a lot this year. And I'm saying that from confidence. And Eric, like, me, I'm a diehard Jet fan for a really long time. And, every season, the Jets are going to win the Super Bowl. All right, 3 weeks in, all right, when's baseball season? It's just like it's just like a revolving door of like sadness with my sports teams. But this is the first year I could actually say, like, I'm going back and looking at teams and like, this is one of the, on paper, this one considered on paper going into opening night. This is one of the most complete football teams in football. And I don't think I ever, as a Jet fan, looking back in retrospect, when I started paying attention and watching this team and falling in love with them and watching Miami kill them in 1982. And it's like, this is a complete football team. And I don't think there are many holes in this team. I mean, their defense and offense are solid. They have solid 11 on both sides of the football.
Yeah, I think you probably wish that the Jets were in the NFC because, you got Pat Mahomes to get over still.
Yeah, and I did a TikTok video the other day. Anybody wants to know my TikTok is Let's Talk 1972. I put a lot of videos on there. And the other day, I was talking about the Ravens and the Chiefs game the other night. And I'm talking about how they were just two heavyweights. But I went in with the intro saying, like, tonight's game to me is who's going to be playing the Jets in the AFC Championship at the end of the season. And that's what I foresee. Pat Mahomes, Pat Mahomes looked like Pat Mahomes, but he looked a little rusty, right? I mean, you have to say he looked a little rusty, right? Lamar Jackson looked good. He had a lot of drop passes. You know what I mean? Lamar Jackson looked good. They were kind of like a centimeter away from of tying that football game or possibly going for
game of centimeters, like that much, right?
Yeah. So those are two teams that are there, and they're not going anywhere because they're both their defenses are solid. And I didn't realize what a solid defense that the Chiefs have, but the Chiefs have a very solid defense too. They emerged at the end of last season as having a good defense. So those are two teams that
definitely a top 10 defense. The Chiefs, they really improved on that. Yep.
Yeah. And saying that, I think that the Jets, not playing, they have to be in the conversation with those football teams to win it all this year. I mean, if you watched that Bengals game yesterday, what was up with the Bengals yesterday? I mean, they lost to
Bengals are
Wisconsin
horrible.
10
Bengals
Patriots.
are
So,
horrid.
I mean, maybe they just had a little, bump in the, maybe they were rusty or something, but they're supposed to be there too. So the Jets are absolutely in the same conversation with both of those, all three of those football teams to possibly represent the AFC and possibly winning a Super Bowl this year. Because not only are they going, if they do make a Super Bowl, you could say the Jets haven't been in a Super Bowl in 52, 53 years, but they have a quarterback that has been there before and a quarterback to lead them. So this guy that has been there before with a bunch of young guys. And Aaron Rodgers wants to go down in history as one of the greats to ever play the game, right? He's got 4 MVPs. He wants that other Super Bowl, dude. And what better way to do it than to bring a Jet fan to Super Bowl?
It's kind of like what Brady did. Brady won the Super Bowls in New England, and then he goes to Tampa, and he wins the Super Bowl in Tampa. It's like that's the way he wanted to end his career. But, you said that quarterbacks are rusty. Did you see what my Baker Mayfield did yesterday, Rich?
I did.
The guy went
He
crazy.
looked a little out of sorts yesterday, dude.
24 out of 30, 289, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a quarterback rating of 146.4. Right now, after week 1, Baker Mayfield is the best quarterback in the NFL.
He is, obviously, I was being facetious when I said he looked a little out of sorts yesterday. He looked like, I was watching him play yesterday. He looked like a chiseled veteran yesterday. That's what he looked like.
He could get better. He doesn't utilize Mike Evans that much. I mean, Evans only caught 5 passes yesterday. I mean, Evans is going to walk into the Hall of Fame. I mean, the guys have one of the greatest careers as a wide receiver. I mean, he's up there. They're talking these records with Jerry Rice. He's not quite going to pass Jerry Rice in yardage, but I mean, there's a chance that Mike Evans can finish top 10 all time before he leaves the game. The guy gets 1,000 yards every single year. All reliable. Except against the Saints, he gets shut down against the Saints sometimes. But
exactly.
Yeah.
But you know what though? You're right about Mike Evans, man. Because I was watching him play yesterday. He makes some amazing. He pulls that ball out of nowhere. He's tall. He's got. I mean, he's always gets and he always makes big catches. And it's always like it's never like it's something that doesn't mean anything. He's always pulling down big passes for the Buccaneers.
Yeah, he almost has 1,000 receptions, Rich. He's got 767 receptions for his career. So getting 1,000 receptions, that would be quite an accomplishment for Evans.
Like what now? How long does Tampa Bay have Baker Mayfield signed for?
I forget what the contract is, Rich, but you know what? I'm not going to get my ducks in a row for one game. They play the Lions next week. It might be a reality check. Although, the Lions had some trouble with the Rams last night. The Rams had a lot of injuries. The Lions almost lost that game, basically. But like I said, they go to Detroit next Sunday. So let's see how Baker does. I know he struggled in the playoffs last year when they played the Lions and stuff. So we'll see what happens next week.
The point I'm making about that is like, is he going to be there for like maybe 2-3 years? Like, look, I mean, the Super Bowl, they're not going to win. I mean, whatever. But is he going to be there maybe to grow with some young players, or is he going to be there maybe for 2 or 3, 4 years?
Yeah, no doubt he'll be around, Rich. I mean, he's proven last year he matured a lot. It's not the Baker Mayfield from the Cleveland Browns. I mean, look at the Cleveland Browns quarterbacks, Rich. You look at Deshaun Watson. You look at Deshaun Watson from Houston and look at Deshaun Watson from Cleveland. I mean, totally different player. I don't know what goes on in Cleveland with these quarterbacks, but we've seen it. Johnny Manziel, all these guys in Cleveland. I don't know. Maybe they're partying too much. Who knows what, But Baker Mayfield, I mean, they showed him with his wife and his daughter yesterday. He's a family guy now. And, I guess he matured. I mean, some of these guys come out of college, as the party animals they were in college. But,
you
playing the NFL.
You just mentioned a guy as a perfect example of that. Johnny Manziel is a perfect example of that. It's a great documentary. Yep. I mean, there was a time period there where I thought maybe like Baker Mayfield might be going down that path, kind of like Johnny Manziel type. But he's like you said, he's matured. He got married. The thing is, Johnny Manziel just never stopped partying. He was like,
I guess he made the money from the contract, but never really came. He played in Canada a couple of years too. I don't know what's going on, but yeah,
he blatantly said it on this documentary. He said that I played these football games for the parties. Like I said, if you won, the party was better. It's like I play. It's like there were times where his offensive lineman would drop him off the football field and he'd sleep it off before practice and stuff. But he said, I always showed up. I always made it. But the thing is, he like partying more than that. But he's gaining a lot of popularity now on YouTube a little bit with doing some stuff. So, and he's still that party guy though. I think it looks like from the documentary, he lives in a house with a couple of his buddies and they're pounding beers while they're doing the documentary. So I don't know. You know what? It is what it is. You know, he's not hurting anybody, you know?
And what about these rookie quarterbacks? Is Jaden Daniels yesterday of the I was going to say the Redskins of the Commanders. He had 88 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns on the ground, threw for 184 yards, no interceptions. So I mean, this guy is another up and coming star. It looks like.
That's what I was going to say to you yesterday. Who looked better, him or the kid in Chicago? What was his name?
Caleb Williams.
All right, Caleb Williams. I watched the Chicago game I had on yesterday. I watched that a little bit because I wanted to watch this Caleb Williams because both of those guys have a spotlight on him. I understand it, but it seems to me like Caleb Williams thinks he's going to be star right off the bat, and he needs preferential treatment and stuff. But I guess he went in looking a little bit like not a little nervous or whatever. But I think he settled in nicely in the second half, dude. Like, I mean, he was making plays. Like, he didn't look scared. He was trying to make plays. He was running around a little bit. He was being a little cocky, pointing at the defensive lineman. And I think the other guy from Washington, I think that he showed the same thing. I think both of those kids came in yesterday, and I think that they showed that they're ready to at least try and play in the NFL. They don't look nervous, is what I'm saying. Neither one of them looked nervous yesterday.
Caleb Williams a little more flashy with the nails painted and everything like that. But yeah, I mean, the Bears defense really rose to the occasion too. I mean, they had the interception return at the end. They blocked the punt and stuff like that. So, you know, the defense put 14 points on the board. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how these young quarterbacks play and stuff. And a lot of these young receivers too out there now, you know. So, you know, it's week 1, Rich. A lot of stuff can happen between now and I guess the first week in January, but you know, there's always the injury factor. But yeah, it's exciting to see football back. But you know, we got baseball coming down to the home stretch, and you said before how you watch the Jets and you can't wait for baseball season to start. But now you watch the Mets and football. A lot of stuff going on in your life right now, Rich.
Oh my God, I don't even know. Go ahead.
Before we get started, there was a passing of one of the greatest Mets of all time. Ed Kranepool passed away today, 79 years old.
Oh my God! You know why? I didn't look this. Listen, full disclosure, I didn't look the story up. I've been working outside. My son told me Jerry Kuzman died.
Oh no, Ed Kranepool.
I said, wait a second. So it was Ed Kranepool. Ed Kranepool died.
Yeah, Ed Kranepool and James Earl Jones died today too, as well. Both of them.
Saw that. He lives over here. Lives over in Poland.
Yeah, 92 years old. But Kranepool, 79, played with the Mets, 17 years or something like that. Won the World Series ring, all-star, all reliable. He, you know, I think they retired his number too, Rich. I had the luck of meeting Ed Kranepool at a Little League dinner one time. Yeah. You know, really cool guy. You know, you see a major leaguer. Players don't do that nowadays. I remember after the Little League season, they always brought a baseball player in. We'd have like Prime Rib, the baseball player would talk to us. It was Ed Kranepool. One year it was Roy White of the Yankees. One year Lenny Randle of the Mets. Wow. So it was pretty cool meeting Ed Kranepool, a major leaguer. But 1,853 games the Met. I mean, nice. You know, you don't see that too long, you know, with players moving around. You don't see a guy staying with the team that long nowadays.
No, you absolutely don't. You don't see that at all. But no, that's kind of sad. Ed Kranepool dying. I wish he could have stayed alive to see the Mets win the World Series this year.
Well, you know, the Mets have won 56 out of 91 games since Memorial Day. They've been the hottest thing since sliced bread. I mean, we spoke Grimace, Hot Tua, whatever. You know, it's just amazing. You know, how this team, I mean, was it Julio Iglesias bringing him over? I mean, what is it, Rich? I mean, it's incredible. This team is headed down the stretch right now, looking really good. They can make some noise in the playoffs if they make it.
You know what? It's going to get really, really interesting. Now, I wanted to get really excited and start yelling and screaming about this, but I'm kind of like, I'm at a calm level. You know why? Because I really think that they can do something in the playoffs. They're going to make noise in the playoffs. Eric, they have 7 games with Philadelphia, and they have 4 more games with Atlanta. Right now, we're in a dead tie with Atlanta. Unfortunately, Atlanta's playing just as well as we are right now. They lost. Listen, the Mets won 9 out of their last 10 games, dude. Okay, listen, they lost last night. It's almost like you're like, oh my God, I can't believe they lost. But they're gonna have to lose some games here and there. But I think what you said is like, you know, Grimace and whatever that stuff is. They're having fun, dude. Like me and Aiden watch every game. They're out there. I mean, they're making all weird signs that we don't know, like what it means and stuff. And I think there's a cohesiveness with this Mets team that I haven't seen in a Mets team or any other team. And there's a cohesiveness. And I'm not going to say this is going to happen, but there's a cohesiveness that I saw when the 96 Yankees started to get that kind of like camaraderie with that team. And again, I'm not comparing the two teams. Don't go crazy. I'm talking about a cohesiveness. And I'm also talking about every single position is a threat. Like, it's not like, you go 1 through 4 in the batting order and 7, 8, 9 is going to shit the bed. There's always somebody in that lineup that's going to pick up Francisco Lindor if he does the very, very occasional 0 for 3 or 0 for 4. There's somebody there that's going to pick him up. There's not an ire at somebody when they strike out. Mark Vientos, this kid he's not the most emotional kid in the world. They're even saying, he's smiling and he's having fun. Kid hit 2 home runs the other night. I mean, he hit a walk-off in the 10th inning, a second 2-run home run to win the game. Now, I don't see a starting player on the field of the Mets that you can't plug in right now that I'm not going to be like, all right, I could see why he did that tonight. I could see why Mendoza did that tonight. I guess Bader needs a rest. Jesse Winkler, come on, man. If you look at his stats, they're pretty good, but they're big hits, dude. That grand slam he hit the other night, man. They're big hits. So I don't think you're looking at a locker room where somebody goes 0 for 4 or whatever. I don't think you're looking at a locker room where the guys look at those guys and be like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? We're going for the playoffs. That looks like a locker room that says, dude, we got you, man. Look at me. I went 4 for 4 tonight. I went 2 for 4. You guys are going to pick us up tomorrow night. And even Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso's not doing shit right now. And I'll tell you what's going to happen with Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso is going to take his money. When I mean he's going to take his money, he's not going to bitch. Steve Cohen is going to say to him, Pete, I know this is what you're worth, and I know this is what you're going to get. So Pete's going to say is yes. You know why? Because he's not the best player on that team right now. And
exactly.
He's probably happy as a pig in shit to get up to bat and not have to be the guy to hit a home run. And he wants to be a part of winning a World Series with this franchise. And I think that has a lot, no jealousy, all camaraderie, no jealousy. That's what I think the key to what this Met team is right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to do it on the road, though, Rich. I think they only have 6 home games left. But, they play Toronto, Philly, and then they finish out with the Brewers. It's so funny because they started the season against the Brewers, and they finished the season against the Brewers. And the Brewers might have the division locked up by then, so it might be some garbage time for the Brewers. So the Mets have after they play Atlanta, they go to Milwaukee to end the season. But Jeff McNeil's out, Rich. What do you think about that? Is Iglesias going to be the guy now?
He's the only one. He can go. Trade him at the end of the year. We don't need him. You know what it is? I really think that there's something to him being like a douche. You know what I mean? Like, or kind of being that guy that doesn't really get in the circle, or, you know what I mean? I don't know. Out of anybody, like, I know I said the whole team, but I was going to make a point about Jeff McNeil. I think that Jeff McNeil could go somewhere else and flourish. We could get 2 pitchers or something for him or whatever. Trade him, man. I don't know. But because I don't think he's not doing anything this year, Eric. He really isn't. Like, he's getting some hits here and there. He had a hot streak, but, Nimmo and Lindor and Iglesias and Vientos and just, but I mean, it's name after name after name. We don't need Jeff McNeil in that lineup. He could sit up for the rest of the season, man. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, they really come on strong, and they played at Braves. Those are going to be some big games and stuff like that. What do you think about the starting pitching, Rich? Can the starting pitching hold up in the bullpen?
I never thought I'd be saying this, but if you look at a game 1 of the playoffs, starting pitcher, big name pitcher against Sean Manaea. I will take Sean Manaea any day of the week as a starting pitcher in my game 1 of the playoffs. Remember I said to you a couple weeks ago that that's the one thing that bothered me is like, we're going into the playoffs, we're hitting the shit out of the ball, we're pitching okay, but it just doesn't have that big bang when you see our, game 1 starter. But if you're a Mets fan and you're following the National League, Sean Manaea is pitching his ass off right now. And they're hitting behind him. And I have no problem saying that that's our number 1 guy right now. Senga might be back for the playoffs, but I think the pitching staff is better. It's better, but it's still our weakness. The bullpen got a little better as well. What's his name? Buto's playing all right. So it's kind of like Diaz when he came out the other night, strike 1, strike 2, strike 3, like that Bugs Bunny cartoon. I'm not saying he's back to being 2 years ago, Edwin Diaz, but he's still one of the best closers. I mean, who's better than him? Probably just maybe the guy in Cleveland. You know what I mean? So it's like,
definitely not Clay Holmes, Rich. Not Clay Holmes.
You know what? We'll get to the Yankees in 1 second too, because I got a question about them. You, but I think what you're looking at also with the Mets is, again, you don't watch them, but those long homestands when they're getting ready to go, usually everybody's like, it's a takeoff game. It's like, whatever. They haven't had any fucking takeoff games where they're like, we're leaving, we're going San Francisco tomorrow, or Oakland tomorrow. We have a night game here. It's like we're just gonna cash it in. There's none of those games, dude. They easily it's like they haven't taken their foot off the gas. And I think
Yeah.
it's definitely shows. And they're not going to win every single game going forward, but they're winning the important ones and they're winning series. And they have big ones coming up with the Phillies and the and even though listen, not for nothing, the Washington series is big too because it's a divisional game. And they got 3 with Washington also.
Yeah, don't forget though, Rich, they survived those West Coast trips. They had like 2 West Coast trips. They had to fly to St. Louis that one time, fly back to Colorado. So they actually survived that. That could have been like a nail in the coffin for them, Rich, if they didn't survive those West Coast games, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. They easily could have cashed it in after, but they played over 500 on the trip. You know what I mean? And they came home, won some games. They beat the shit out of the Red Sox. It's like, thank you very much, Mets, for you Yankee fans. And but there's a confidence in this baseball team, Eric, that I haven't seen I haven't seen it in a long time. And I'm telling you, I'm looking at the '96 Yankees emerging right now in my eyes.
Right.
In my eyes.
Right. Yep. No.
And
looks like
before we get off the Mets and talk about the Yankees for a second, I know you think I'm when I would say this, people would think I'm crazy, of course, because it's like, Francisco Lindor is an MVP of the league. It's like, what are you crazy? Listen, I've been saying this for 2 years that he's going to get an MVP. This year, especially after the All-Star break, dude, he deserves to be looked at as the MVP of the National League. And the reason I'm saying that, you look at the stats, Shohei Ohtani is just a machine, dude. He's bang, hits home runs. But he steps on home plate and he sits down for a couple of minutes. How is he helping his baseball team? Now, you could say that if Lindor, if it's the hitting, you could say if Lindor went out, then he was a mediocre shortstop, decent, possibly maybe a Golden Glove, and okay, shortstop. Then, of course, Shohei Ohtani's running away with. But he does something every single night to save runs just by being the best defensive shortstop in baseball. And he's coming in and he's not getting dumb. He's getting big hits. He's stealing bases. He's going to have to be in the 30-30 club again, dude. 30 stolen bases, 30 home runs. I mean, he is on par right now. And I got into an argument with somebody on TikTok the other day. He was like, arguing with me that, Bobby Witt Jr. should be the MVP. Dude, it's a different division. Just look at it. It's a different division. I understand Bobby Witt's a great shortstop. I'm talking about the National League, and they didn't understand it. It's like, by the way, Aaron Judge is winning that, so Bobby Witt's not getting it. So he is. I don't know how you feel because you're a great baseball guy. You watch all sports. You know the Mets. Why is Francisco Lindor? He's starting to get more play, starting to gain a little more ground, but he's got to be an MVP candidate, a big one.
Yeah, so there's one thing that could prevent it, Rich, and nobody's ever done 50-50 before. If Shohei Ohtani does 50-50, I understand he's a DH, but 50-50 never been done before, Rich. So that's the one roadblock that Lindor would have. Right now, Ohtani's 46-46. There have been guys that gone 40-40. Okay, whatever, nice. And that would get Lindor. That would catapult Lindor in my mind over. But if Ohtani goes 50-50, I think Ohtani gets it.
Yeah, just because of that, really? You think so?
It's because of the numbers, Rich. I mean, look at the MVP. It doesn't mean much anymore. It's not the guy that wins. Of course, the Dodgers are going to win. I mean, Andre Dawson won the MVP for the last place Cubs. So, it means a lot about the numbers, Rich. I understand where you're coming from, how many runs Lindor saves, and he's had a great season. But I think that 50-50, being alone in that club, Rich, that's a lot. Yeah. That's saying a lot. And, there's only 20 games left. It might not happen. He's 46-46 right now. It might not happen. Hey, Aaron Judge, we was in his 62 home runs. He hasn't hit a home run in 10 days, I think Judge still wins the MVP because of his numbers, basically. I mean, he could have won the Triple Crown. He's not going to win it. Bobby Witt's up there. But yeah, I think that's the roadblock, Rich, the 50-50.
Now, I would love to see a stat. There's got to be a stat somewhere you might know of how many runs he produces to how many runs he saves.
Right. There's got to be a stat out there. It's got to be
a crazy stat like that out there because Eric, I watch him every night, man, and he just does stuff in the field. You know me, I'm always been like an infield guy. I love watching the infielders. And he, in my eyes, and I even, he's one of my favorite baseball players of all time. Like I've even said that last year. I love the guy. Mm-hmm. And he's finally, and just because of dumb Shohei Ohtani, I mean, but I think that he's definitely, and he is definitely that spark, that fire that is in the Mets right now, along with the other guys. But I think he's that match. He's that let's go. Like he's the guy that had the meeting. He's the guy that, and he keeps the guys that don't really speak too much English, and then he goes, him and Alonso have a good thing going.
Yep.
And I think I'm right about what's gonna happen with Alonso. I think Alonso is just gonna know his place. He's gonna take his 17 a year, and he's gonna stay with the Mets because good things can happen there. And he's not the best player. He doesn't have to go out there with the game on the line. Just get on base, Pete, because someone's gonna knock you in, man.
Yeah, one thing about that though, his agent, Rich. I mean, the agent wants to get his. Alonso might fire him. I mean, look what happened with the pitchers last year with Boros. You had Snell and Montgomery, and they didn't get to camp until like March. Basically, it's wasted seasons for them. If it's like a hometown discount taking the 17, and he might just tell Boros to F off. I want to stay in New York.
He might. Yeah. And you know what though, and. Pete Alonso would do that too, I think. You know why? Because and I've said this numerous times. I don't think that's an act with Pete Alonso. Like again, the way he walks and the way he carries himself and the way he gets caught up in so many situations, like being drunk, singing country songs on stage. But I think that goes along with who Pete Alonso is. He is that prototypical, guy that's like the jock at school, like, and nothing phases him. Like you could say, Pete, it's like, you're fat, you're ugly. He's like, yeah, whatever. I'm still better than you, but not in a cocky way. Like he sees himself as just this guy in any situation. He's just going to overcome. It's going to be, he's going to go into like, hey, Steve Cohen's like, I want $50 million a year. He's like, yeah, real as a cat. Just kidding. What are you going to give me? He's like, yeah, I'll take the 17. I'm going to be hitting third and fourth in your lineup for the next 10 years. I'll take the 17. And he'll make it like, he created that deal, and he'll just blend into the lineup and win World Series with the Mets. I really feel he's that guy, man.
Yeah, you never know. Just one other cute story. Spencer Horwitz, who is Jay Horwitz's grandson, faced the Mets tonight. He's with the Blue Jays, and he's been on a tear. Been batting .440 with 4 home runs, 8 RBIs in the past week, so he might win Player of the Week. That's another great Jewish ball player in the making, Spencer Horwitz. Look out for him.
Heavy. All right, so 32 minutes in. We got a couple minutes. What's going on in the Bronx? Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you, but what I'm observing in the Bronx is, thank the Lord they had that big winning streak in the first 2 or 3 months of the season.
Well, and you know what? And thank the Lord that the Orioles are playing down to them as well. The Yankees, they can't beat teams under 500, Rich. They're 43-27 against 47-23 against teams over 500. You take 4 of those games away from the Mets, that's 47-19, because they lost the 4 games to the Mets. But yeah, they played down to their competition, Rich, and it's really sad. But you got healthy. You got what's his name, Clark Schmidt back. You got Luis Heel back this weekend. They played good against the Cubs. They lost yesterday. They didn't give up an earned run in the 3 games. So that's you have Nestor Cortez back in the bullpen now. He's mouthing off. You got a new closer now. You got Kirk Cousins' cousin, who actually played better than Kirk Cousins yesterday. But yeah, it's just like, I don't know what's going on with this team, Rich. They better wake up soon. But you know what? The Yankees were 3 games out on July 9th, and ever since then, it's been a dogfight, flipping and flopping with the Orioles. I mean, one day the Orioles are half game up, the next time the Yankees are getting half game up. I mean, as bad as everything's going on, Rich, who has the best record in the American League? The Yankees. It's mind-boggling how they've gone on this free fall, and they're still the number 1 team in the American League, because every team sucks in baseball. There's not going to be a 100-team winner this year, Rich. No team's win 100 games for the first time in like 10 years. It's crazy.
Well, hey, real quick, 1 second. Christian McCaffrey inactive for tonight.
Are you kidding me? Wow.
Just said it just now.
Wow.
Anyway,
I mean, all those guys that took Christian McCaffrey with the first round draft picks, I guess they're jumping to Mason now. I guess he's the backup running back. So I better change my FanDuel, Rich, before we get off the air.
Absolutely. So from what you said, from what you're saying with the Yankees about how they play to their competition, I think that's a very good point, because there are nights when now Stanton, when he's healthy, dude, that guy just, I mean, he's a machine. He's a machine. Okay. And we all know Aaron Judge. Okay. We all know that guy is just like, he's not human. And Juan Soto, if it weren't for Aaron Judge, he'd be the best player on the Yankees. So
Mhm.
there's three guys right there that are in a lineup when healthy that could easily give you 9 RBIs, 9 RBIs a game.
And don't
Because
forget Austin Wells, Rich. Austin Wells is a great catcher. He's been
yes,
hitting fourth in the lineup, and he's been tearing the cover off the ball too. So you're looking at the top of the Yankees lineup, and now Jason Dominguez is back finally. I don't know what the holdup was, not getting
what are they going to do with
Dominguez.
him, Eric?
I think he's playing tonight. He's going to be in left field because you know why? Verdugo's not hitting. Verdugo's going to set a record for ground outs. I mean, all the guy does is ground out to second base, it seems. It's like he had a great April, and ever since April, I mean, he's going to be off the team anyhow as a free agent. Thank you for coming 1 year. Best of luck to you wherever you go. But yeah, Verdugo's going to be gone. But, Dominguez the real deal, and I think they didn't call – he was hurt most of the year, but they didn't call him up. And a lot of teams do this, Rich. It's because of a money thing with control and stuff. I mean, do you think the Yankees give a shit about control with all the money they have? It's so dumb. I can see the Pirates doing it with Paul Skeens. Okay, they brought him up in like late May, early June, so they get him now till he's 30 years old. But the Yankees with Dominguez, he should have been up here a week or two ago. They could have just made hay on the Orioles because the Orioles keep losing, and when the Orioles lose, the Yankees are losing the same day, and when the Orioles win, the Yankees win. It's just crazy how these two teams are going at it. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting once the playoffs roll around.
You know what, though? As I always say, Rich, once the playoffs roll around, all the teams are 0-0. It's a fresh start. I mean, the Yankees, their playoff run, they had some terrible Septembers, and we said, oh, wow, and they won the World Series. So I'm not worried. I just hope they get their shit together because, they've been playing like this since the end of June, basically. Since the All-Star break, they've been under 500, and Orioles too, so can't complain. But at least the rest of the division, the Red Sox, Blue Jays, and Rays are out of it. So it's just a 2-team race basically.
What's your take on as the year has been progressing with the Yankees and you see some of the weaknesses and this, that, and the other thing? What's the odds that Soto just says, you know what, and I hate to say the Mets, but or whoever else, what's to say Soto's like, you know what? This is Judge's team, and we're still, doing some things. Like, I want to win a World Series. Like, I don't know what can happen here. You think Soto is going to be asked to stay, A, or B, do you think he wants to?
I think you give Soto a blank check at the end of the season and say, fill it in. You got to do it, Rich. You can't lose Soto. You gave up so much talent. I mean, look what the Padres did. The Padres gave up so much talent, but the Padres have a good team. I mean, the Padres are going to make the playoffs. They were not predicted to make the playoffs. They're going to make the playoffs. They flipped a couple of guys for Dylan Cease. But yeah, I mean, what the Yankees did, the Yankees unloaded their farm system, a lot of pitching. And you know what? You got to sign Soto. Even the bleacher creatures are saying, sign him now. They're giving chance. I mean, the bleacher creatures fell in love with Soto with the with the roll call and everything. I'd be very disappointed if the Yankees didn't sign Soto. And kind of like I felt a couple of years ago when Judge almost left to go to San Francisco,
Yeah. I bet, I bet, because like you say, I'm a Met fan, but I bet Steve Cohen is going to offer him a contract, not similar in money, similar to Ohtani's contract. Because Cohen can do it. Cohen could offer him that big, huge deal at the end of his term. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, he could give him 11, 12 a year and then give him 500 at the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, Steinbrenner just might want to sell the team then if that happens. I mean, I remember when Bernie Williams was on a plane to Boston, to Fenway to sign with the Red Sox, and Steinbrenner said, whoa, and they signed him off that plane, basically. So, yeah, to lose Juan Soto, I mean, Bernie Williams is a nice player, but he's not Juan Soto. You don't see too many Juan Sotos, and the age, too.
You could tag on maybe an extra $400 million, like, at the end of his, tenure with the Mets. And you'll get that $400 million just in jersey sales in the 5-6 years. You know what I mean? It's or just in attendance. So just because of him, you know what I mean? It's like people will show up again. Well, they're showing up now, but they'll even show up more. People, it's like, oh my God, Juan Soto's here. So for him to give him an astronomical payday like Ohtani is not out of the question because he will make that money up tenfold.
Yeah, and I understand, Rich, he'll make more money than Judge, but that's what it is. I mean, as baseball evolves, players come on, they make more money. I mean, it's the way the game goes, basically. You gave Judge his contract, but, that was 2 years ago. The inflation goes up now with these contracts. So it's hard to say that he can make more money than the captain, but, it's gonna happen.
Francisco Lindor the other day, he's been very, very vocal because he's friends with Juan Soto. He's been very, very vocal about getting Juan Soto here. And they asked him because he makes a lot of money. He's like, do you want to be like, he said, I don't, he goes, I make my contract. It's like, that's it. That's my contract. He's like, I don't care how much money the boss gives him. I want him here. He's like, I don't care what he could make him the part owner of the team. I want him here. He's like, I made my deal. That will be his deal.
Yeah, I think Aaron Judge. I don't see Judge mouthing off on that. I think Judge is a pretty classy guy. I don't think he'll mouth off on it. Yeah.
He's not really a big mouth anyway. He's kind of like that gentle giant.
Exactly. I mean, kind of wish he would have some of these closed door clubhouse meetings and say, "Come on, guys, let's get your act together," being the captain and stuff. But
the Yankee fans seem to, well, from what I hear, be okay with that. Him not going off on people, not grabbing Verdugo and saying what's going on. I would have a problem with that, man. I would have a problem with him not being like kind of, because Verdugo looks like he's never seen a baseball bat, hasn't seen a baseball bat in his life.
Yeah, he's definitely a dog, basically. But you got Rizzo back. He could play first base. You get him for the defense. DJ LeMahieu's on the disabled list now. You probably won't see him back on the baseball field ever. I think he's gone. But, and then you have Gleyber Torres. He's going to be gone, too. You move Jazz Chisholm to second base, maybe. You get a third baseman. I mean, Jazz has been great. I mean,
absolutely.
Yankees have him for next year, too.
That was a great sign. Absolutely.
And the Yankees have next year to have control for another year. So he's back in the fold next year as well. And, he might just like it here. I mean, he's having a good time. He's learning third base. I mean, third base isn't the easiest position to just say, hey, here's a glove, go play third, basically, But I could see him going back to second because Gleyber, he wore out his welcome. He's a free agent. The Yankees aren't going to bring him back. Rizzo's going to be gone at the end of the season. Clay Holmes is going to be gone. So there is that money going to be there for Juan Soto. It's not like they have to bring a lot of these guys back. There will be the money for Soto. So,
you also have to replace those guys too.
I totally agree. But, you got guys in the minor leagues, these big names that play with the Renegades that should be up soon, Peraza and these guys and stuff like that. So, and speaking about the Renegades, they made the playoffs. So congratulations. They play the Greensboro Grasshoppers tomorrow night, the Pittsburgh Pirates farm team. And then they go to the second round. They couldn't play for the championship. So it's been a good year for the Renegades as well. Also, they broke the record, Rich, 188,000 fans. They broke their attendance record. So look at that, huh? Not bad.
Very good. Yep. Maybe, like I said, maybe we'll have
the entertainment got better as the season went on, right?
All right, dude. All right, we got an hour till the game, so
yep.
I gotta go mentally prepare for this Jet game. I gotta go upstairs.
Yeah, well, no McCaffrey now, Rich. I think that's a good sign. I wonder if the line moved on the game yet because of that.
Yeah, well, what do you call it? They still got a whole host of other guys. We didn't even mention Kittle before, so Kittle's a problem too. So
yep, and Brock Purdy too.
Yeah, and I do want to mention one more thing. Congratulations to Miss Caitlin Clark for being the Rookie of the Year of the WNBA. The girl is killing it, and I know you're not watching because I could tell in your face, but that girl is changing the sport of women's basketball.
I was
haters out there. You Angel Reese's who try to beat her up every night. It's like that girl is changing your game for the better. And she's not taking any of your shit. Rookie of the Year in your face.
Yeah, I was speaking to somebody the other night, Rich, and he was telling me that he never saw a WNBA game in his life. And he started watching the WNBA this year. And I mean, Caitlin Clark is you could say she's like the Michael Jordan of the WNBA. She put the league on the map, Rich.
Absolutely, 100%. Anybody says any different in that league, they have to have their head examined. Once that first girl that signs that $1 million contract to play for their prospective team needs to turn around and thank Caitlin Clark, thank their lucky stars that girl decided to come into the NBA and how she takes it too. Dude, you see it. She takes the shit. She takes the knocking down. She takes the shit. She takes everything. And you know what she does? She just, boom, she turns around and bangs an outside of the 3-point, an NBA three right in their face.
Yeah. The NBA championship used to be on tape delay, Rich, until these big stars came. I mean, look at the WNBA. Nobody really, it's been around for like 30 plus years, but now it really came, they're flying, chartered airline, chartered flights now, no more commercial and stuff. So, the salaries are going to go up too. Watch the salaries go up now too.
Yeah. two WNBA women, and I'm sorry, I should know their names, but they were been friends for like 30 something years. Like, I think they were two top WNBA players, but they ended their relationship because they had a fight about Caitlin Clark, the one
Crazy.
woman who's an advocate for her, and the other one was like, "What are you talking about?" It's like the one woman's like, that the one woman, like, she's a big Caitlin Clark fan. The other woman ended her friendship with this woman because
Wow.
of the fight they got into.
Wow, and I thought we only saw that in politics, Rich. I didn't know it filtered down to sports now.
Yo, I'll tell you right now, must see TV tomorrow night, 9:00.
Oh, Yankees Royals
is going to be that, dude. Eric, I know you don't like the politics, but that debate is going to be must see television.
Yeah, I'm going to the Renegades game, so hopefully I get home before. But I'll definitely be tuning in when I get home, Rich.
I am wondering what kind of Xanax they're going to put Trump on, and I'm wondering if Kamala's going to go with Johnny Walker Blue, or she's going to go with a bottle of maybe 100-year-old bourbon or something, because it looks like a complete drunk on the stand.
Rich, what do you think? What do you think the ratings? What do you think the ratings tomorrow?
It's
Super Bowl
through the roof. Through the roof.
Really?
Everybody's going to watch that, dude. Listen, today's Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
They want to. I'm sorry. Today's Monday. They want to get this done. Why didn't they do it tonight? Football. That's why they did it on Tuesday. I guarantee that's the reason why they didn't do it on Monday night, because football would have been. But tomorrow night, people watch the Met game, the Yankee game, whatever. But people are going to watch tomorrow night, dude, because this country is in shambles.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Rich. You're not going to see Aaron Rodgers run out with the American flag tonight, okay?
No, you'll see Aaron Rodgers run out and throw a touchdown pass on his second pass of the game. All right, Eric, I got to go upstairs. I got to get ready for this football game. Thanks a lot for coming on with me tonight, dude.
Yeah, Rich, it was fun. We'll do it. We'll do another show in a couple of days, whatever. But just good luck tonight, Rich. You deserve it. You've been if anybody, I know you're one of the most diehard Jets fans I know. And let's do it.
J-E-T-S, Jets. And good night, everybody. Let's go,
Take care,
Jets.
Rich.
Take care,
Murph.
Okay,
later, we'll speak. Okay, bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.